This is a summarized main story of Zenless Zone Zero version 2.8. Because Ramiel, the mysterious pink-haired girl who possesses a time-stopping ability, stole the Pozzoloi W engine that we wanted in the last version, the story begins with you and your sibling discussing plans to find her. While this is happening, you see mysterious golden illusions of the unknown past and Miss Carol, which probably happened a lot before this as your condition worsened, and will happen a lot later in the story. You see Miss Carol talking to your sibling in the store, but it turns out it was Cisia instead. Cisia excitedly informs you that her boss, Severian, gave her a paid leave and allowed her to act on her own for now, with the condition of continuing to work with you to investigate Ramiel. Ferry reports the search results for Ramiel. After filtering out some errors and conducting a thorough search, Ferry finally finds footage showing Ramiel at the bubble tea shop Richard T. Milk. Billy then messages you about a new form that he wants to show you, and offers to follow the team in this investigation as well. With that, the team sets foot in Lumina Square to ask around for Ramiel's whereabouts. On the way, Billy continues to brag about the new form he upgraded to using half a year's salary from Nicole, but he clarifies that he revealed it only when it's really needed. The clues you discover first start at Richard T. Milk, where Ramiel bought 3 drinks to try them all at once, before heading to Sanzi's studio to purchase a toy by sharing one of her stories as payment to Yi, the store owner. Yi insists on not revealing the story to you as it is a trade secret of his. He always collects inspiration from different stories to make them into art and sell them as artistic figures. The trail of clues then leads to Gravity Cinema, where you are almost exposed for dating multiple characters here previously, and you find out that Ramiel wanted to watch an old movie about the old Eridu before it fell. Lastly, the clues lead to Dew Gardening Shop, where Orchidia, the store owner, recalls that Ramiel bought some white wither blooms, claiming they were to commemorate the death of someone. Orchidia thinks that this is odd because that flower is not typically used for funerals. Orchidia also recalls that Ramiel is heading to Minerva Quarter, a sunken place covered in debris and waste that was once prosperous and housed Helios Academy until the fall of the old capital. Since that is a restricted area, Ramiel will be heading to Blazewood first as a detour to get there. Therefore, the team ends up in Blazewood and inquires about Ramiel from the Sons of Calydon. Caesar first says no, as recently they have been busy on keeping an eye on Tops, which suddenly arrive at the outer ring in large numbers, sending a bunch of machines into the hollow. Everyone thinks that this is probably ill-intended for unknown reasons. In the meantime, Cisia has a conversation with Big Daddy. It turns out Cisia and the Sons of Calydons have already known each other for quite some time. Back then, Cisia, as a fan, came to them to look for the first champion in Blazewood. Cisia shares that, long before Lighter became the current champion, there was an Outer Ring legend entitled The Reaper and the Champion, where the first champion defeated the so-called Deadly Calydon Reaper heroically, and the people of Blazewood cheered for him and the peace he brought. It is obvious to us that this first champion is Billy himself in his upgraded form back then. However, Cisia clearly does not know about Billy's identity, as it is kept secret from many people, which will be revealed to us later in the story. For now, although Billy claims that the legend is heavily exaggerated from the version that he knows, he is at least secretly happy that there are people who depict his old self as a hero figure. Anyway, the team digressed for a bit. Bernice reveals that she knows Ramiel and that they drank nitro-fuel together recently. Although it is a little difficult to recall as Bernice was probably drunk at that time, the team manages to find out that Ramiel is heading to the hollow closest to Blazewood, very likely the same hollow where Tops has been sending machines as mentioned just now. Ferry also reports back some discovered clues. The white wither blooms that Ramiel bought to commemorate death were actually a very ancient choice of flowers for these occasions from about 100 years ago. Without further ado, the team ventures into the mentioned hollow to look for Ramiel. Upon entering it, you are greeted with a swarm of Ethereals as usual, and Billy finally decides that it's time for him to showcase his new form.
这个也还换条路吧，虽然绕路会花心。不好意思，借过一下。呀呀呀！全体目光向我看齐！比利，你干嘛？没必要绕路，我准备了这么久，等的就是这一刻。比黑洞还要黑暗的邪恶，庆贺吧！我获得了被星光灼烧的资格。死源爆裂，星河看破，星辉骑士变身。这家伙怎么通过经过测试的？今天你们碰上，算是行大运了。这可是我自创遥报升级的全新形态。来吧，你们一起上吧。
Belle's new upgraded form, together with Sisia's sensing technique, breezes through the hollow in search of Ramiel until the team stumbles upon Romeo, the wolf villain and the antagonist of last version's story. However, it isn't really Romeo, but just a robot that looks like him, which attacks the team. As you wonder where these Mech Romeo units come from, more and more of the same units appear. It turns out the entity controlling these mechs is Yokai, the AI villain himself. To make things worse, he releases Trojan malware into Billy to stop him temporarily. Fortunately, Promeia appears just in time to save the team.
准备好了吗，猎物们？我要开始倒数了。3、2、1，狩猎开始。
Promeia gets no valuable info from Yokai via the mechs, as Yokai is an AI that can simply flee after seeing that his plan has failed. However, she manages to spot a TOPS employee from the Rusty Cliff Corporation hiding nearby. Rusty Cliff Corporation is a faction under TOPS and a member of TOPS Roundtable, which consists of 3 packs alongside Krampus: the Scepter, the Ring, and the Crown. Rusty Cliff Corp is in fact the representation of the Ring, which is led by a guy called Edmund, who wears the ring. However, the employee claims that he has nothing to do with these mechs. Instead, he is just here to monitor the route for the big guy. With a sharp gaze, Promeia tells him to leave. Promeia also tells your team to leave, but after you reveal your motive here, Promeia in return requests to join the team in search of Ramiel. She claims that she cannot disclose her entire mission to you yet, but she reveals that she is here for the big guy that was mentioned earlier. With this, the team deduces that Ramiel's whereabouts and TOPS Rusty Cliff's action are related events that points to a single truth. The team continues onwards and stumbles upon the faded Ethereals again, which proves that Ramiel is nearby. Then, an ether fisher brings you to a place called the Chasm Memorial, where white wither blooms are tied to the fence, which indeed it looks like an act of honoring the dead. The team doesn't manage to find Ramiel, so you decide to head back to base first to reorganize and rest as the sun sets. Then, a scene is revealed to us where Ramiel is talking to a device. Whether someone is speaking through the device or it's the device itself that is speaking, the conversation seems to be about a partnership of theirs and reveals that they want answers from Sunbringer. The scene ends with Ramiel planning to pay you a visit for a round of a Q&A game. The team returns to Blazewood and reports their finding to the Sons of Calydon. Promeia adds that the Rusty Cliff seems to be rushing to do something to get Krampus's attention, as if they are threatened, and that their target is most likely Ramiel as well. The team then enters into a buffer time to rest. Promeia begins staring at Sisia for some reason, which obviously makes Sisia feel uneasy, on top of Sisia being terrified of Promeia all this time because of their past, when Promeia was still in the ruthless killing organization, the Sweepers. Sisia questions Promeia about the stare. Although terrified, Sisia once again bravely stands up on her own to confront Promeia, clarifying that she has changed and is not scared of Promeia anymore. Weirdly, Promeia replies with a subtle smile, agreeing that Sisia indeed has changed since the last time she saw her, leaving Sisia confused. It turns out that back then when Promeia killed the two thieves bullying young Sisia, Sisia fled, thinking that she was the next target. In reality, Promeia just wanted to pet young Sisia. So maybe behind that stone cold face and personality, Promeia is just someone who likes cute things but usually cannot express her feelings up front. At least for now, the tense relationship between Sisia and Promeia has begun to loosen up. You then join the conversation between Lighter and Billy. You find out from them that both the first champion and the Calydon Reaper were Billy himself this whole time. It's just that the legendary story of him has been heavily exaggerated and built up from rumors. We didn't get to see much of what really happened to Billy back then, but most likely, instead of a battle between the two of the same person, it was more of a reformation, a change from possibly a killing machine, the Calydon Reaper, to a hero, the champion. Today, since the day Nicole took him in, Billy has again taken a new path with his friends in the Cunning Haze. Everyone then goes to sleep. Suddenly, you once again dream about the golden illusions of unknown past figures. At the same time, you also begin sleepwalking outside. The voices in the nightmares seem to talk about some monster that they have created. As always, you see illusions of Miss Carol once more, and as you continue onwards, Ramiel appears and wakes you up just in time.
你的梦不应该是这样的。起床了，再睡就醒不来了呀。
Ramiel shows up mysteriously, but before you can ask your questions, she insists that you must answer hers first. This is the previously mentioned Q&A game of hers, and since she was the one who woke you up anyway, you have to abide. She first asks you what kind of person your teacher Miss Carol was, to which you give a usual reply that describes Miss Carol as your trusted guide. Then, Ramiel answers your question about who she actually is. She reveals that her real name is Ramiel Dan, the same Dan that we know historically as a lieutenant colonel of the Guard of Staves, or Colonel Dan. She was one of the first few Void Hunters who protected humanity by pushing back something called the Dark Wall, together with two other Void Hunters, Colonel Vike and leader of the Falkenhayn mercenary troop, over 100 years ago. She claims that she stole the Pozzoloi W engine because it is a key to the past that she needs, and that she'll return it to you once she's done with it. She adds that your nightmares represent something that you are chasing but never actually find. More questions pop into your head, but she has to go as everyone else begins to wake up to check on you. At last, she bids farewell and vanishes swiftly. You explain all that has happened to everyone. Initially, Billy and Sisia are in disbelief, but your words sound even more true when Promeia reveals her mission from Krampus, that the big guy she's investigating is actually an anti-Void Hunter riot suppression mech, a machine built to counter Void Hunters. Though she doesn't know much about why it was deployed by Tops all of a sudden. But by connecting all the dots, the team deduces that the higher ups in Tops might have already known Ramiel's identity. The team suspect that the Holo Champion competition from the previous story may have just been a bait to lure her out. Willing to find out the truth, your team is ready to take the risk and chase down Ramiel, as Sisia surprisingly was able to attach a tracker on her earlier. With that, your team begins the chase once more. Well, Ramiel is a Void Hunter after all. Even though she slips out by not knowing that Sisia attached a tracker to her, she notices it shortly after and removes it. Through a conversation between her and the device again, it is revealed that both Tops and your team are chasing her at the same moment. Though she is not afraid, she decides to continue playing the hide and seek game a bit longer. The tracker that shows Ramiel's last known location is fortunately more than enough. Your team quickly heads to the designated place in the hollow. After clearing out some Ethereals, you stumble upon Cicia's tracker that Ramiel left behind, along with a note telling you to turn back for your safety and the toy she bought at Sanzi's studio. Just then, your vision blurs and the golden illusions manifest once more, though this time they take the shape of Ramiel. Not wanting to hinder the team or cause unnecessary worry, you urge everyone to press on, since the illusions seem to be serving as a guide to catch up to Ramiel anyway. The team continues onwards, following your lead despite their confusion. Again, guided by the golden illusions of Ramiel, you deduce that her true goal is to retrieve an object buried deep within this location. An ether fissure then leads the team to a confined space, but surprisingly, you are able to unlock the way out by merely touching it. Then, a box or perhaps a casket or a case appears. Right in that moment, the anti-Void Hunter mech arrives, controlled by a Tops unit. As a Krampus judge, Promeia orders the Tops unit to withdraw immediately, but the unit claims that he is simply following Tops' order to retrieve the mission objective. Without further words, the mech engages the team in a battle. Though the name of the mech sounds fierce, ridiculously it turns out not to be as difficult to defeat as expected. This leaves the team questioning whether it is truly the actual anti-Void Hunter mech or not. While the team is distracted by a brief celebration, you wander off, losing consciousness of your own body as the golden illusions finally take total control. Drawn like a puppet towards the mysterious box, you watch the box opens, and whatever's inside it suddenly turns you into a monster.
那就这样说再见了，我的老朋友。不过，我更希望的是，我们永远都不会再见
店长，
这股力量，
有危险！
我们也是啊，所有的东西都被吸过去了。
在那东西里面呢！
制服他，把他们救出来。
Your team is far too late to stop you. You, as a monster, attack the team. While engaging your monster self in a battle, your team tries to figure out how to get you out. After a fierce exchange, you stop and collapse. Unfortunately, you are still a monster, and you are far from turning back into a human as you evolve into another scary, intimidating monster figure once more.
还在那个东西里面，要赶快把它找出来！
可这家伙也太大了，从哪儿开始找啊？
我知道，我负责逃，我负责讲。
等等，还没结束。
不会吧？那个难道是灵？
店长，是你吗？看起来不太妙啊。
经验告诉我，应该撤退、观察、商讨对策。但直觉告诉我，如果不在此刻就地压制住他，灵就回不来了。
This time, your team stands no chance against you in that form. Just as your team thinks that it is all over, Ramiel appears once more, presses herself onto you, and begins extracting some power out of your monster body, turning you back to normal.
我知道你不想伤害他们，你已经很努力了，你做的比我好。接下来是我的任务了。
Ramiel first apologizes, because her goal was indeed the box that turned you into a monster. Inside the box was a weapon, Thaumiel. She reveals that your golden visions and those nightmares were caused by Helios, which was once also tied to her. She didn't expect that you'll get here without the Postloid W engine as a key, and by contacting Thaumiel, it accelerated your condition, turning you into a monster. She suggests you to go to a place called Roscaelifer, because she claims that the doctors there are capable of curing you. With that, she leaves, and you fall asleep. You wake up a few hours later, already safe on your bed back at your store. You report the conversation with Ramiel to your sibling about Roscaelifer. It clearly is the next destination in the upcoming 3.0 version. However, it seems like an unknown place hidden from the public, and you don't know how to get there yet. You check on Billy and Cisia. They are relieved that you are okay, though your monster transformation earlier clearly traumatized them a little, so you apologize to them. The conversation then leads to the whereabouts of the rest of the Cunning Hares, as you ask Billy where his friends are, since he's been alone for quite some time now. The truth is, Billy has lost contact with them for a bit now, and he has only received one picture from them so far. Our main characters don't know it yet, but from that blurry picture, it seems like Nicole and the others have already made their way to Roscaelifer and caused some trouble, just like at the very beginning of version 1. Cisia also informs that his superior, Severian, has extended his paid leave and that the condition is once again to stay by your side. So it is expected that both of them will stay in our team for quite some time from today onwards. After Billy and Cisia have left, our new friends from the last version, Norma and Vadina, arrive at the store and pay you a visit. They claim that, issued by the Mayor Mayflower and the Marshall Group, the two officially invite you to Roscaelifer for a stay, and to also treat your condition, as they somehow also know about your condition. They reveal to our main characters that Roscaelifer is where they are from, and that it is a classified airspace zone. Unaware of the full details of what happened between you and Ramiel, they reveal that Ramiel is currently a wanted fugitive in Roscaelifer, as she allegedly attempted to assassinate Lady Sunbringer. You are shocked to hear that, and even more shocked to find out that the first generation Void Hunter, Lady Sunbringer, is still alive. After Norma and Valina have left, you summarize everything that has happened with your sibling and conclude that it seems like there are way too many people who are trying to guide you into their favor, so you must stay extra vigilant as you step into Roscaelifer. Meanwhile, Zhao tells Promeia that she has changed after working with you, and that it could be good for her if she continues. On top of that, the unknown leader of Krampus Compliance Authority also notices the difference in Promeia and orders her to inform a mysterious unknown individual called Phoenix about their next destination, Roscaelifer. With the game then showing us a full teaser trailer of Roscaelifer, the story marks the end of the version 2.8 and concluded the season 2.
心爱丽都隐藏着一个秘密， 的繁荣，始于绵延无尽的数据涓流。始于那座远离尘嚣的天之算术。罗斯凯利法。
去吧，将决议通知所有负责人。
奇怪，参数明明没错，但为什么火力？专心实验是好事，不过我是不是该认真审核一下你的研究经费了呢？为什么啊，小维？上个月明明都已经砍过一次了。起风了，看来是要变天了。什么决议还需要我签字？福林特工房的意见什么时候这么重要了？小姐，请不要让算力部感到困扰。知道了，知道了，我签就
其余
是。
的内容最好也再检查一遍。
是。
攻势鲁莽，破绽百出。好没看。
没事吧，西格利德大人？
意思是战术有效，但实力尚需锤炼。
你是？然而，繁荣只是瞬息湮灭的幻想，涌动的涓流之源，既非人知，也非天恩，而是苦难的深渊。这会是你想要的结果吗？凝视深渊者，必将被深渊回望。距离往昔者，难逃被往昔追猎。
罗斯凯利法，
巍然的理想，如今摇摇欲坠。旧日的誓言，我也早已不在。我想要的，不过是一个答案，一个只有你才能给我的答案。